Hi, I'm Sally from Outdoor Rhythm, and today we want to show you the New Way propane stove, the 3500 model that we use inside of our Springbar Classic Jack 140 tent. So this is a Pelican case. That's where we store all the different pieces. And it comes with this foam top and then customizable foam on the inside that lets you organize the different pieces you buy. The products we're going to show you today come from a couple of different manufacturers. We've used the 3500 New Way propane stove, and then we use stove piping from Winnerwell. So we'll have everything linked below, and we will unpack it for you today and set it up so that you can see what it looks like. So I'm going to start with the Winnerwell mat. You lay this down flat on your tent. It protects your tent from the heat. And this is a Winnerwell piece. Then we have this connector cable. This goes on the outside of your tent, and this actually comes with the Springbar Classic Jack 140. That specific model of tent is set up to accommodate a stove, primarily a Winnerwell wood-burning stove. We've made an adaptation in order to use the New Way propane stove instead. So this piece comes with the Springbar tent. And you'll see in this Pelican box a lot of stove piping. The stove piping all comes from Winnerwell. So here we have the double wall, so this piece right here is the double wall. The outside stays cool. This is the piece that actually goes through the silicone cask in your tent to keep it cool. So this part gets warm, this part stays cool. It's important that this is the piece that goes through the actual tent, and this is a Winnerwell piece. This is supposed to keep the sparks down, so it's a spark arrestor. You don't really need it when you're not using wood, but we want to keep the debris out, we want to keep any rain out, so we use it even though you technically don't need it with a propane stove. So again, that's a spark arrestor. We then have various size piping, and when we set it up, you'll kind of see, but there's some angled pieces, there's some straight pieces, and they all come from Winnerwell. There is also this piece, which is a damper. So this turns, which opens and closes the pipe. We always leave it open, or we don't use this part. We are concerned about fumes that might come from using propane. So again, we either leave this wide open, so the completely open setting, or we just don't use this piece at all. It is very important if you're using propane indoors that it is very well ventilated. In addition, we always use a smoke and carbon monoxide alarm. There's no reason not to use it. It's important to just be safe. So always in a very well ventilated area. So back to the pieces, these are all Winnerwell. And now we'll transition to the New Way. So this piece we bought on Amazon because the Winnerwell pieces are 3.5 and the New Way stove is a 3-inch. So from a 3-inch to 3.5, we bought this adapter on Amazon. Again, everything will be linked, and we just wrapped it with some aluminum duct tape. So this piece is from Amazon. And then this piece is it's the propane hose. This actually comes from New Way. It comes with the stove, and it comes with a regulator that helps you determine how much propane is actually flowing. So that's kind of the important piece right there, and I'll set that down. Okay. I'm not going to pull out all these pipes, but these are all Winnerwell pipes. We have, again, angled ones, we have short ones, we have long ones. And the reason you want the different sizes is depending on the height and size of your tent. So you are going to want to accommodate to that. So you're going to want to just do some measurements, see how many pieces you need, and then purchase those. The other piece that we purchased is from Amazon. So this is a fan that actually just circulates the heat. It's really interesting because you set it on top of the stove and it takes the heat from the stove and it converts it into electricity, which then spins the fan, and we found it to be a great way to keep the heat flowing through our tent. And again, all these will be linked. So this is from Amazon, this is from Amazon, and the lighter is from Amazon, and the alarm. All the piping and the mat are from Winnerwell. The hose is from New Way. And here is our centerpiece. This is the New Way 3500 stove. And I'm gonna set it right here. If I were setting this up in my tent, I would put this mat nice and flat to keep our tent safe. And then I would set this on top. Okay, so that is the New Way propane stove. and it is a double burner. They do sell more powerful models, they sell smaller models. This is the 3500 2-burner. So the next thing I would do when I'm setting it up, so first the safety mat, then the stove itself, then obviously the converter piece to take us from a 3-inch to a 3.5 to accommodate the Winnerwell pieces. I'm gonna do a kind of a temporary setup here because we don't have the tent kind of holding it up, but you would put in a piece, say like this, then you would put in, and you can accommodate the sizes and the shapes based on the height of your tent. Obviously, if this is on the ground, you're gonna need to go higher up with the piping to get it through the hole. The important piece is this double wall. You definitely need this to be the piece that goes through the opening in your tent because you want the cool piece to be touching your tent. The next piece would usually be another angled piece to then, once it's up and out and then up towards the sky. And then we would put the spark arrestor on top, which I can't quite reach, but that again keeps the debris out. There's no sparks with propane, but it's really nice to keep the elements out and leaves from falling in or whatever the case may be. So this is where this cable from Springbar comes in. They have it set up so that this actually attaches to the outside of the stovepipes and then connects to the outside of the tent. Again, the tent was designed in order to have a heating unit in there, so it keeps that in mind. You see I'm kind of holding this up right now. With these cables that are really well designed in place, it holds this up beautifully. We've used it recently, even there was a storm and there was no issues with this blowing around or anything like that. So this cable is actually, it looks small, but it is quite sturdy and it is connected, customized to the Springbar Classic Jack 140. So I'm gonna take this down because I don't have it connected to the tent. I don't want it to tip over. And then I will show you how to light the tent. I'm just gonna pop these back into the Pelican case. Okay, so, and this is where we would put the fan. So again, this fan we got on Amazon. We got this thermometer on Amazon as well. You don't really need it when you're not burning wood. We just like to know what the temperature is and how much propane we're burning, so we like to have it on there. So again, this is a 3500 New Way. Make sure it is in the off position before we turn it on, and then we grab the cables. Right now for these purposes, we are using a 10-pound tank. This bag is from Flame King. It's a really nice bag with a really solid zipper and kind of a foamy top. So we added this quick connect in order to connect it quickly to our propane. So that is a piece that we added, and it just kind of pops in, and then you kind of just wiggle it around a little bit, and then you hear it click. Okay, and then with this piece, and again, if you're trying this out, make sure you're in a well-ventilated area. We look like we're indoors, but we actually have a completely open pane right here. So you really don't want to use propane indoors. So this is an internal screw, so that means it's gonna screw in the opposite direction of what you normally would. You actually push this piece in, this black piece, and I always kind of have to put my leg on the other side to keep the propane tank from tipping. You turn it, and then you turn it in the opposite direction. So normally it'd be like lefty-loosey, but you turn it left to actually tighten it. So you're doing this. If you're not used to doing this, or you find it a little bit difficult, or you need to give it a few tries, like don't let that dissuade you from trying new things, from doing what you need to do to keep your family comfortable in the outdoors. It's fine if things don't come easy and it just takes a little bit of work to figure it out. It's worth the benefits of taking your family outdoors and having them experience a comfortable night in their tent, and even to be able to camp year round, really. Okay, so I have it nice and tight. I like to always just double check my work. Okay, so it's on there tight. It clicked here, it's on here. So now I'm actually gonna turn on. This again is a little bit smaller. This is a 10-pound. We normally use a 20-pound. And there are 2 burners here. So each burner burns 10,000 BTU, so 20,000 total. We have found that if we turn it both on all the way at 20,000, we get 20 hours from a 20-pound tank. So that would usually take us through a weekend of using the burner, both burners on high at night only. we find that we don't need that much heat, so we sometimes will just turn on one, and if we keep it at the lowest setting, it only burns 5,000, so that gives us 80 hours with a 20-pound dedicated propane tank. So that gives us 8 days or a week. So for when we are out for spring break or for the summer where we're camping for longer periods of time, we know that we can bring a 20-pound tank, have it dedicated to the heater, and if we turn only one burner on at the lowest setting, it will last us the entire week. So I'm gonna reach over real quick and grab the lighter and show you how to light this up. So you can turn them both on, or you can turn on just the right one, because that is where the igniter is. The directions are all on here. It says push to turn this way to on. I'm just gonna turn them both on just so you can see. You then do need to press this button, and that releases the propane. Then you light it, and there we go, and they're both on. And just keep pressing just for a couple seconds. You let it go. You can turn this up higher, and you can do them individually. When you turn one up, it doesn't turn them both up. You can also turn off one at a time and leave just one running. And it gives us really, really great heat. And then you just close the little door, and it does have this little latch, so it's nice and safe. And then we just turn it off. And it does have the safety features so that if the flame goes out, the propane won't keep running. So it has that safety feature where it actually turns the propane run off. So you're not just gonna have fumes from the propane coming in with no flame. So, and then once this gets a chance to heat up, it's already starting to heat up, this will get even hotter. Again, it will turn into electricity, and this will start spinning, and it's done a really great job of circulating the heat. The Classic Jack 140, which is the one we use this in, is a 10 by 14 tent, so we've had really great experience with it heating up really nicely. So that's the setup. Again, this is the New 3500. If you want to see what this looks like actually like all set up in a tent, we have that in another video, which we will link below. So you can see what it looks like when it's actually all set up and the mats laying nice and whatnot. But this is a little bit more of a how-to for how the stove on its own works, the different pieces we have, and how we have it set up. So we hope this will help you get outdoors more comfortably. It's a great setup. We'd love to hear your questions, your feedback. If you want to look at outdoorrhythm.com, we have a lot more resources and information on how to get outside and get camping. And we'd love to hear from you, and happy camping.